Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Disney. Disney has wasted $1 billion on its last big four streaming and film flops. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you. I'm trying to get to 30,000 subscribers, so if you can subscribe, please do subscribe. Coming from Forbes, the 4 flops of 2023 that cost Disney $1 billion. Disney has revealed that it spent $965 million on 4 of its most high-profile streaming and film flops this year. Disney has been on a cost-cutting drive since its chief executive officer, Bob Iger, returned to the helm of the company in November last year. 3 months later, he told investors that the studio needs to, quote, reduce costs on everything that we make because while we're extremely proud of what's on the screen, it's gotten to a point where it's extraordinarily expensive. It's no exaggeration. This was something that Bob Chapek was planning to do with the CFO, Christine McCarthy. They were going to do massive cuts. That was right before Bob Chapek got fired, and Bob Iger jumped back in as CEO at Disney. Budgets of movies and streaming shows are usually confidential as studios combine the cost of them in their overall expenses and do not itemize how much they spend on each project. As Forbes has reported extensively, productions made in the United Kingdom are an exception. It has to do with the tax breaks. They need to itemize all their expenses because the UK government actually steps in and gives them back 25% of what they spend on making the movie. Pretty incredible, but that's one of the reasons why Disney gets nuts with their budgets. I think there are other reasons, but they do get money back right from the UK government because it's great for generating a lot of local jobs and building their local economy. Studios have to set up separate companies to make each project and get a cash reimbursement of up to 25% of the money they spend in the UK. Each company has to file financial statements and they shine a spotlight on the spending because those financial statements are made public because it's really the citizens of the UK that are paying for 25% of all of the cost of these productions. But very soon, it's not going to be just 25%. Now, first of all, British taxpayers have already spent $5.8 billion since this program started in 2007, reimbursing film and TV projects. Obviously, they think it's worth it, and Hollywood absolutely loves it. Mission Impossible got back £85 million in UK tax breaks because they also filmed in the UK. The UK just reinstated their program and said, yes, we are going to continue to do these rebates. And not just that, for TV and film, they're actually increasing it to 34% and going up to 39% for animation and TV programs for children. So you can expect not just Disney, but a lot of Hollywood studios taking advantage of this. Disney is filming increasingly more content in the UK to take advantage of the incentive. It was home to 4 of the most expensive productions released by the studio this year, and they've also been amongst the worst performers. The list of the losers kicked off in February with Disney's Marvel Studios superhero caper, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The movie opened to lukewarm reviews, but no expense was spared as Disney spent a total of $193.2 million on pre-production and filming, and that's not all the costs involved in the production. That's just in pre-production and filming. There's post-production, and that is far from free. The sci-fi movie was the 3rd installment in the Ant-Man series and was widely derided for its CGI effects. It grossed $476 million worldwide, which was lower than both of its prequels. Studios are keeping around half, a little bit less than half, of the proceeds, with the remainder being retained by theaters. Supposedly, Quantumania made a profit of $81.9 million after it banked a $37 million production reimbursement. However, it will very likely end up losing money the next time the financial statements come out, as they will show the colossal cost of post-production. God only knows what the cost of post-production on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is. We found out also from Forbes, because they do a lot of these UK reports, that they'd spent something like almost $300 million before tax rebates making Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. May's live-action fairy tale, The Little Mermaid, seemed set to make a bigger splash, but ended up floundering. No pun intended. The movie was branded woke for updating the story of Disney's classic 1989 cartoon, and was also criticized for its CGI, which made once cute characters look like eerie aliens. Then they go on with the story, but they never mentioned the race swap issue, which really was a big deal, because when you change how the character looks and how the character is established, and you do it movie after movie, project after project like Disney does, and then they claim, oh, we're just hiring whoever's the best, we never look at what the race of the character is, it's obviously completely absurd. And that's the woke part of it that people just really have run out of patience for. By August 21st, 2021, Sandcastle Pictures, the Disney UK subsidiary behind The Little Mermaid, had spent a total of $265.5 million. Staffing was one of its single biggest costs, with the production team peaking at 252 people and cumulative pay coming to more than $26.9 million. The financial statements revealed that the movie's cost was forecasted to be over the production budget due to the potential COVID-19 impact. The company received a $4.1 million furlough grant from the UK government, so more free money, to help it through the pandemic, as well as a cash reimbursement of $53.4 million. It put Disney's net spending on the movie at $212.1 million, giving it a $70 million profit on its $282.1 million share of the box office. However, it doesn't stop there. Like Quantumania, its costs are set to swell in its next financial statement, as the movie was only a month and a half into post-production at the date of the latest filings. Disney had yet another bite at the blockbuster cherry with the premiere of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny in June. In November 2022, they revealed in the UK Express newspaper that Disney had spent $294.7 million on the movie. That only covered pre-production filming and 1 month of post-production, so the spending doesn't stop there. They spent more than $300 million making it, there's no question. That's before the cost of marketing. It got a $55.8 million reimbursement, bringing its net cost down to $238.9 million, meaning that it would need to gross $477.8 million for Disney to break even, but of course that doesn't really include all the costs. So far, the movie has made only $357.9 million, and its costs are set to surge in the next set of financial statements. Disney may end up making a loss on what seemed to be a surefire hit. Disney will absolutely lose money on that movie, anywhere from $200 to $250 million, even though they have the streaming service where they can market, and they can market on multiple platforms, including broadcast, cable, pay TV, international. There's a lot they can do with distribution. Disney has phenomenal distribution. They can recoup a lot of expenses, but not enough to cover the costs of Indiana Jones. Then came Secret Invasion, based on a beloved Marvel comic series about a race of shape-shifting aliens secretly invading the corridors of power. This Disney Plus streaming show also had great potential. However, its serious tone, gaping plot holes, and poor CGI put off fans, leading to its crescendo becoming the single lowest rated episode of any Marvel streaming series, with just a 7% positive score on Rotten Tomatoes. Unlike theatrical releases, subscribers don't pay per show on Disney Plus. Instead, of course, they're charged a single fee every month, which grants them access to all of its new content and its library throughout the year, with or without advertising, depending on how much you pay. This makes it impossible to calculate how much revenue is generated by each show. However, there is no doubt about the costs of making Secret Invasion, as it was filmed in the UK. As they revealed, the show bafflingly had a budget of $211.6 million, despite the shortcoming of its visuals. It brings the total production bill just on these 4 productions to $965 million, and that largely doesn't even include all of the post-production costs. So it's well over $1 billion. No wonder Bob Iger wants to slash spending, but if he doesn't manage to improve the audience reception, it still might not be the dream ticket. I happen to think this is what Bob Chapek got caught up in, and it created a really serious management problem. They do have these great deals with the UK, but there are other jurisdictions, other states, other countries that offer really good terms for film crews. The problem is it starts to skew and confuse their decision making about like, well, what should the budget be? What should the quality be? So that's how Disney spent $1 billion on its last 4 streaming and film flops. They need to figure out how they're going to control these costs, and they need to figure out how to start making stuff that people actually like again. I think they eventually will. I don't know how they're going to do it. Obviously not with the same people in charge, but eventually they'll probably figure it out. In the meantime, the UK is increasing their tax rebate from 25% to 34%. So they'll spend probably even more money and blow even more money on projects until finally they'll make something that people actually want to see. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Really appreciate you. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.